Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog, and in this one we got to talk about a game that I didn't get to see the first half of, and that's the Celtics-Pacers Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I have a different opinion on this game, and I think a lot of people do. The game started off bad. The Celtics went on a 12-0 run to start the game. Then Miles Turner and Obi Toppin came in and were able to get us back in the game. Miles had a really good first half, so did Obi Toppin. I know Tyrese Halliburton supposedly hit this ridiculous three-point shot from the logo. And then at the end of the third, Tyrese Halliburton did have another really crazy three-point shot to close out the third quarter. But the story of this game was really in the fourth quarter, where a bunch of errors were made by the Pacers. The first being that Rick Carlisle never called a timeout to advance the ball with 5.7 seconds left on the clock to score. We really just had to get the ball in bounce and not fuck it up, and we did. Then the inbound pass to Siakam, during all of this, Siakam touched the ball, it went out of bounds, wasn't able to get a hand on it, and then Jaylen Brown hits the three-point shot of his fucking career over Pascal Siakam to send the game into overtime, which really sucked, because I was thinking that if this game goes to overtime, we're probably going to lose, and that's exactly what happened. Aaron Nesmith in the fourth quarter dove for a ball at the sideline, and it ended up being out of bounds, which wasn't good when really all he had to do was hold on to the ball. All the Pacers had to do in the final minute, 2 minutes of the game was really just try to run the clock out. And instead, they were trying to make hustle plays, they were trying to score, they were trying to do this, they were trying to do that. And I get it, you still have to score in those situations, but they were just trying to do too much. And, really, you really can't blame this loss on really, anybody player-wise. Rick fucked up. I'm going to call it what it is, Rick fucked up. But at the same time, it's I feel like we gave Boston a little bit more of a run for their money than they anticipated. We are the first fully healthy team they've had to play the entire playoffs. They've had kind of an easy go of it up until this point. I know a lot of people, including myself, are expecting the Pacers to lose in this round in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm in that boat as well, only because I feel like Boston is going to make adjustments that are really going to make our life difficult. In game one, they were giving us wide open 3-point shots. We were getting to the basket a little easier than I think we should. Just because they were giving us open threes in game one doesn't mean that's going to be the circumstance in game two. If anything, they're going to be harder to play in game two. But if we were going to steal any game, I felt like it had to be this game. It had to be game one without Porzingis, or hopefully we can win game two without Porzingis. But it's just the idea we have to try to take advantage of these things while we can, because the Boston Celtics not having Kristaps Porzingis is a big deal. But the thing is, there was still the discrepancy in free throws. The Boston Celtics shot 30 free throws, we shot 10. The foul calls were 23 personal fouls on the Pacers, 15 for the Boston Celtics. It's just the degree of those fouls was a lot of people just slapping the shit out of each other. I'm not saying every call is accurate, because in the playoffs I feel like there's certain teams just get a better whistle than other teams. And what's crazy is in the playoffs, the Celtics and the Knicks are the two teams getting the most free throw attempts out of any teams in the playoffs. Almost plus 7.5 free throws a game for both teams. But the Pacers foul a lot, man. I will say this, the Pacers foul a lot, but there's a lot of times where we're just getting bullshit foul calls. Also, if I'm correct, the Pacers shot the least amount of free throws of any team in the regular season as well. So not only were they committing a lot of fouls, but the Pacers are also not getting any foul calls. So you kind of gotta suck it up and deal with it at this point, it seems. But Miles Turner and Obi Toppin went off in the first half, and I'm a little more confident on this series than I was prior. I do think we're going to win a game, maybe 2 games against Boston, but game 1 should have been a win for us, and we choked it. We flat out just choked it away. Jaylen Brown had a good game. Drew Holiday had a good game. Jason Tatum had a good game. Like, you can get away with Jason Tatum beating you, but you can't get away with Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday beating you. You know what I'm saying? The Pacers are going to have to be better on defense. They're going to have to knock down open jump shots. I can't tell you how many open jumpers the Pacers missed because I was watching them when I came home, like from the third quarter to overtime, and they were just missing every wide open jumper they got, which I just simply don't think is going to be the case in game 2. I think Boston realizes now they're playing a team that it has gotten just as far as they have, and granted, we had sort of the same benefit of the doubt that Boston has had, where guys have been injured, but the Bucks didn't have Giannis. The Knicks were honestly it was like playing a fucking hospital at this point, at a certain point in that series, but. I don't want to, somebody told me Tyrese Halliburton had 10 turnovers. He didn't. He only had 3. But the problem is those final 2 turnovers he had in the fourth and, the last minute of the game really hurt us. It hurt us a lot. So, I'm just, as a unit, I don't really know how to feel about this because I think the Pacers are going to give the Celtics a run for their money in a certain extent. I do think Boston's going to win the series. It's just I feel like we're going to be more competition for them than they anticipate or anticipated. So that's just how I feel about the whole series. As far as the Pacers as a whole, I feel like this team has overachieved a lot. Something I said in the Discord last night during the Celtics game was, I can't believe we did all of this without Ben Mathurin, because Ben Mathurin is easily our 3rd best player, probably 4th now. I don't know, depending on how people view Miles Turner at this point. But just the idea that we're doing all this without Ben Mathurin to me is pretty amazing. We're a team that was only, I said 34 wins at one point. It's 43. We were a team that was projected to only win 43 games in the regular season, and we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. So either way you look at it, I think it's a win. A lot of people have said this at this point. The Pacers are playing with house money, which is true. This series matters a whole hell of a lot more to Boston than it does to us, because Boston in the last 5 years has been to 3, I think, Eastern Conference Finals or something like that. In the past, and I think in the past 8 years, they've been to the conference finals 5 times. So this is a team that continually is getting to the Eastern Conference Finals at the very least, and still has not won a championship. So at this point, all bets are off. Boston has to win this series for people to not start drawing concerns about the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, which they already had. That was already there at a certain point. It's just really what it would be doing is just validating people's biases about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum being able to be teammates and win an NBA Finals together. I will say this. I love the amount of experience our players are getting from this. Andrew Nembhard, Tyrese Halliburton, Isaiah Jackson, Ben Shepherd, Andrew Nembhard. All these young guys on our team are getting this playoff experience, and it's great that we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals because that inspires confidence. And at this point, man, I can't say I don't care about what happens to the Pacers at this point because they've made it further than I thought they ever would. But at the same token, it's if they go home, if they lose to Boston in the series, I'm not mad about it. You know what I'm saying? I think even though I will say this, I'm gonna say this, and I don't care what anybody says. The fucking ESPN and the sports news media, for whatever reason, does not want us to fucking win. They do not want to see us in the NBA Finals. They didn't even want to see us beat the Knicks. Now that we're playing the Celtics, it's they don't want to see us beat the fucking Celtics. So from that perspective, and the idea that I'm a Pacers fan, I want them to win the series. I don't think they will, but I would absolutely love to see them win it just to shove it up ESPN's ass. Because everybody on Kendrick Perkins, fucking, who else? Doris Burke, all these people, Michael Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith, Who else? Granted, Mike Breen is the announcer for the Knicks, but Mike Breen, like, it would just be nice to see the Pacers just shove it up everyone's ass for one playoff year, you know. But I'm going to say this. I think the Pacers are going to make it a series. I feel like our offseason is going to be very exciting. We're going to have some guys that leave, but I feel like we're also going to be being the idea that we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Knicks didn't, you know, and the idea that Philly also lost in the first round. At this point, I can't say that, like, from a money aspect, we're a more attractive team, but I think from just a playing standpoint and how far Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam and everybody were able to get this team. Andrew Nembhard's been huge. Like, just to see how far this team got without having a third star, I think is going to speak volumes in the offseason. I feel like somebody's going to come to Indy. I don't know who that somebody is, or, you know, there's rumors Donovan Mitchell's out there, Brandon Ingram could be out there, Jimmy Butler could be out there, Damian Lillard maybe could be out there. Granted, I don't think we need to trade for Damian Lillard. That's one guy I really don't care about because we have Tyrese Halliburton. But I think you get what I'm saying. You know, like, I feel like a lot, even when it comes to bench guys like Nicholas Batum, right? Or I think Kyle Anderson's a free agent this summer. You got Malik Monk. You've got Gary Trent Jr. is going to be out there. Paul George is going to be out there. You know, I feel like if it means, like, guys like Paul George, for example, or even DeMar DeRozan, like, I feel like for these guys, just seeing us make the conference finals and saying, like, hey, you know, I want a chance at a ring, and maybe joining them gives me the best opportunity to do that. I think you're going to get some guys like that in the offseason that look at us and say, you know, they look like they're fun to play with. Like, granted, they don't play well on defense, but they put up, 123 points a game. Somebody somewhere is going to look at that and is going to want to be a part of that, you know? I mean, I don't know who, but I just have a feeling that's going to be the case. So, tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.